As I promised a week or so ago that I will do a dedicated video regarding the BeQuiet's Light Loop 360. And why? Because everything you need to know is in that video for the light base 600LX, right? Well, basically it is and it isn't, and I need to explain why. Because this AIO is outstanding, and what it gave me while benchmarking wasn't something too extreme, right? It wasn't extreme performance. Well, it kind of was in some sense, but I'll get to that point later on. So what we have here, and this is their whole combination of light products, including the chassis. We have light base 600LX, then potentially we'll have the light base 900, and then we have Light Loop 360, and we have the Light Wings LX as well, which come in this case, and they come placed on the Light Loop 360 AIO. So apparently we have here a completely redesigned pump, where the jet plate pump and the cold plate are differently designed, and the metal jet plate increases the flow speed of the cooling liquid, which is leading to enhanced performance. We have cold plate with high density fin stacks, and at the end we have a progressive IC in the motor, which reduces switching noise, which ensures that noise of the pump stays at low level. Now, next to that, we have a possibility to refill the radiator because you get a bottle inside the box. We have, of course, addressable RGB PWM hub, which enables synchronization up to 6 PWM fans and 6 addressable RGB components, so it doesn't have to be fans specifically. And then we go with some specs. Dimensions of the radiator 397 x 120 x 27, while the fans are 120, 120, 25. We have aluminum radiator material, we have copper base plate. Pump speed goes up to 2900 RPMs, 4-pin PWM connection for the speed, and of course 5V 3-pin addressable RGB connector for the addressable RGB. For the fans spin up at 2100 RPMs. We have 4-pin PWM connection and 5V 3-pin addressable RGB for the lights, and 60,000 hours lifespan. The complete dimensions with fans is 397 x 120 x 52. It weighs 1.5 kilos, and we have socket compatibility up to 1700, but I bet it works nice on 1851, AM5 and AM4, with noise level at 50% at 17.2 decibels, 75% 29.1, and 100% 36.8. Additionally to that, what it is to place this AIO on your processor, specifically on AMD, we have something interesting. And I think I mentioned in a couple of videos back, or when I was doing a review on a specific cooler, we have an offset again. We had 7mm, we had 5mm, I think we even had 3mm. And in this scenario, if the numbers are correct and this is what they mean, we have 8mm. So this is quite interesting. We have quite loads of varieties when we're talking about the offset for AMD specifically, and that's really good. And I didn't even want to try the original position. I went immediately for 8mm, so I don't even have the benchmarks for the original position, because why not give the maximum performance to your processor, right? So I did that. So on those 4 standoffs, you have to place the retention brackets. You have holes on top and the bottom bracket, which have 0 for original position and 8, which goes for the offset. When you choose the offset or regular position, you have to use 2 screws per plate, and you need to have or use the plastic standoff to push it through, and then push it to the motherboard thread to tie it up. Now when you're done with that, you just use your pump block top and use those 2 screws that are on the pump block top to attach the AIO to the processor. So this is some sort of a 2-point, but it's actually a 4-point connection with the AMD processor. And in that way, I don't know if it works better in that scenario, but it's kind of weird. You don't have a specifically 4-point and you don't have specifically 2-point, because the pump is attached to those retention brackets with 2-point connection, and then the retention brackets are 4. So yeah, it doesn't matter because the performance is outstanding. But before I said that, I just remember something. They changed the front design of the AIO of the radiator, and it looks kind of cool. I do have to admit, it looks kind of cool. Now for the benchmarks. What I noticed is that in the light base 600LX, the light loop 360 performed outstandingly good, and I wasn't surprised. I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised. First of all, because the case has possibility to mount up to 10 fans, 6 as an intake and 4 as an exhaust, which is quite solid. And then we go with AIDA64, right? So CPU went up to 82 degrees. We're talking about AMD Ryzen 9 7900X3D. Clock speed went up to 4800 megahertz. So this was a bit sketchy, but okay, I let it slide. And then we go to Cinebench. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The CPU temperature started at 79. Second run was 78, and after that, all other were at 77. Of course, there were oscillations like 76, 78, but I took the average out of each test. So yeah, 5000 megahertz first 6 runs. Then it went to 5050 for I don't know what reason, 5025, 5000 again, and then the last one was 5050. And this is where you see the scores. Now the scores aren't something way too extreme in those sense. Like, you do get AIOs that could perform like this. So 26,638, 26,750, and eventually it goes to the last one where it scores 26,895. So what I would say as some sort of an average is 26,780, 90, something like that. And that is outstanding. So what I noticed is that while doing the benchmarks in Cinebench, and since we're having 10 continuous tests, it usually gets louder, much louder than this. And this wasn't, you hear it, of course. You'll definitely hear it at pushing the CPU at 100% load. But compared to some others, it really wasn't that bad because it was really quiet, I do have to say. So because of the performance, because of the quite easy installation, I do have to admit, the only thing is that the fans aren't already pre-installed on the radiator, and that's basically it. So you have to install it as you wish, depending on the orientation. But as I said, because of the performance, because of the, well, first of all, and the design, I have to admit the design looks quite cool. At Computex it didn't look like that, at Gamescom it didn't look like that. It's kind of different when you do it in your own studio, in your own room, and you finish up the build and then you check it out. It really looks nice because you have all those lights on events, so you can't see the proper visual aspect of something if it's supposed to light up. And it's completely different now. It really does look quite nice. It isn't tacky, and it doesn't have individual LEDs visible, and that is the most important part, right? So what I can say is PC Crazy approved badge, PC Crazy performance badge, without a single doubt, because performance, quiet, visuals, there's nothing left to say, guys. The links for the Lightloop 360 are in the description, and I'll place all the possibilities because you have a white version as well, which is something new. Finally, we have a white BeQuiet AIO to pair it up with your white BeQuiet case, and that is another thumbs up. So guys, check the links in the description below. I'll just put some stuff that you might want to consider, or if you just want to copy the whole build, you can manage it as well, because we're having AMD Ryzen 9 7900X3D, we're having 4080 Super Gaming X Trio, and yeah, that's it. The links are in the description. If you like the video, if this helped you, check out your new AIO. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, click the notification bell, and I'll see you soon. Bye.